every time I hear this wonderful portion of St. Matthew's Gospel, the opening, if you will, beginnings of the great Sermon on the Mount, I think of an experience I had years ago as a missionary. In this particular case, it was the first or second week in Advent. It was in St. Paul, Minnesota. Hence, it was cold, snow on the ground, and I trudged over to the school for a class mass. And in this particular occasion, it was the 5th grade. I got to the door of the 5th grade classroom, and I already had a sense that there was a buzz in the air. It was just, the place was alive before Christmas. I walked in, the kids were thrilled. Maybe no more math that day, I don't know. But in any event, I came in, I realized there was a certain time constraint given classes and so on, and I quickly vested, set the table for Mass, greeted the students and their wonderful teacher, and began Mass. And I think the reading for the day was this passage from St. Matthew's Gospel. Now, I looked around the classroom, and it was bright and shiny. The crib was over on the side, the nativity crib, perhaps absent the little child still. The 3 kings were on their way, maybe at the other end of the room or whatever. The room was filled with reminders of Christmas. And around the wall, just above the blackboards, all the way around, were sayings from Jesus, many of which undoubtedly came from Matthew chapter 5, verses 1 to 12. Blessed are the poor in spirit, blessed are they who mourn, blessed are the meek, etc. Well, after the gospel was proclaimed, the children all sat down very eager. And I said to them in my somewhat faux tone of voice, kind of grouchy, I said to them, "Do you believe this? Blessed are the poor in spirit, blessed are those who mourn, those who are meek, the peacemakers, etc., merciful." I said, "Do you really believe that?" Yeah! It's kind of a football chant. Right. After all, Jesus said it, Father. Thank you. I said, "Yeah, but do you really believe it?" There was a little hesitation now. So I said, "Boys and girls, in your hearts, what do you want? How many here want to be poor in spirit? How many want to be mourning? How many want to hunger and thirst for righteousness? How many want to be merciful? How many want to be peacemakers?" Every head dived for their desk. Nobody was looking. And finally, in the silence, one courageous little boy picked his head up looked me in the eye, chin right up there. I said, yes. He said, we want to be rich. So I said, well, what does that mean? Boy, then it came all tumbling out, all the Christmas lists, everything they wanted, including, I remember very vividly, at least one or two wanted snowmobiles. This was certainly not kids from the Bronx where I grew up, but in any event. And after that, all of that had tumbled out of them, I don't know what I did afterwards, and I'm not going to try to invent some brilliant repartee that I remember from that time. I don't. I do have the sense that there was enormous chasm in our collective hearts, not just theirs, mine too. Blessed are the poor in spirit. I want to be rich. Blessed are the meek. What do you mean, meek? Blessed be the merciful. The peacemakers. Get even. The chasm that exists in our hearts when confronting Jesus and his invitation to us, his command indeed to us to follow him. And following him means that there's a quality about our lives that reflects, poor in spirit, a generosity, a willingness to live open-handedly for and with others. A quality that recognizes the injustice that exists in our world and seeks in some way to join in the chorus, to join with others in promoting justice and righteousness. To be merciful rather than vindictive, peacemakers rather than getting even. These are not easy. But this is the invitation of Jesus to each of us. I have great admiration for that young boy who stood up to me and said what he wanted, for it's in all of our hearts. But Jesus goes deeper and reminds us that the blessings abound.